The last battle smoke filled the sky. Fire burned across the ground. Dead alien bodies lay everywhere. The war was over. But one human soldier still breathed. His name was Jace Morgan. He was a fighter, a survivor. He had fought for Earth in a war against a powerful alien empire called the Zarnak. They had taken many human lives. But Jace had taken something from them to their leader. He had killed the alien general in hand-to-hand combat. No gun, no backup. Just his strength, his anger, and his will to win. He had lost blood, broken bones, and nearly lost his mind. But he had won. Then everything went dark. When Jace opened his eyes, he wasn't on a battlefield. He wasn't in a human ship. He was floating in a strange green light. He was inside a glass pod, his body covered in thin wires. Strange symbols glowed on the walls around him. The air smelled clean. Too clean? He wasn't dead. But this wasn't Earth either. He tried to move. Pain shot through his arms and legs. He groaned. Suddenly, the glass pod hissed and opened. Jace fell forward onto a cold metal floor, coughing. The room was quiet, too quiet. He looked around, ready to fight again, if he had to. But instead of enemies, he saw her. She stood a few steps away. Tall, slim, glowing silver skin. Long white hair that moved like silk in the wind. Her eyes were large, purple, and filled with something Jace couldn't read. Fear, sadness, or something more. She knelt on one knee, bowed her head, and placed both hands in front of her. "I am yours now, Master," she said in a soft voice. "You have earned me." Jace blinked. "What the hell are you talking about?" She didn't look up. "You killed the High General. The Zarnak Code gives you reward. I am the reward." Jace stood up slowly, his body weak, but his mind racing. "Wait, you're saying you were..." "What? His slave?" "Yes," she said. "I was born to serve. But now I serve you." "I don't want a slave," Jace said, angry. "I want answers. Where am I?" She looked up finally. Her eyes held years of pain. "This is Vault 17, a secret Zarnak chamber. Only the High General used it. You were brought here after the blast. The system thought you were him." Jace remembered the last moment of the battle. The general's body on top of him, both of them covered in blood. Maybe the machine made a mistake. Maybe it thought he was the alien. He rubbed his face. "So, now what?" She stood. "You are free to leave, but I will follow. I cannot live outside this bond. If I do, I will die." Jace stared at her. She looked human, but wasn't. She was beautiful, but broken. He didn't know what to feel. He limped forward. "What's your name?" "I have no name. The general called me Slave 3. Jace shook his head. "That's not a name. From now on, your name is Isla." Her eyes widened. "Isla, yeah," Jace said. "Sounds better than 3. She looked down. "Thank you, Master. Stop calling me that. I'm not your master then." "What should I call you?" he sighed. "Just Jace. That's enough." They walked down a long hallway. Lights turned on as they passed, sensing life. The vault was quiet, but Jace didn't trust it. Something felt wrong. "Why is this place still running?" he asked. "It is powered by the sun beneath the planet. It never dies. Is anyone else here?" "No." The general kept it secret. Only his favorites knew. Jace frowned. "So we're alone." "Yes, but not for long." Jace stopped. "What do you mean?" Ayala looked up. "There are sensors. They know the general is dead. Others will come to take his place, and they will not want you alive." A loud click echoed in the distance. Then another. And another. Jace raised his fists, That doesn't sound friendly. Ayla turned to him. You saved my life. Let me show you the way out. He nodded. Lead the way. They ran down the hallway, shadows chasing them. Strange noises filled the air, machines waking up, systems unlocking, secrets ready to be kept again. Jace didn't know what waited outside. He didn't know who Ayla really was, but he did know one thing. The war wasn't over yet. The slave girl, the door slammed shut behind them. Darkness swallowed the hallway. The sound of machines powering up echoed through the vault like the growl of a sleeping beast. Jace's breathing was heavy. His heart pounded like a drum. He looked at the silver-skinned alien woman running beside him, the one who called herself. His reward, her name, was Ayla now. He had given her that name. But she still acted like she didn't own her life. Where are we going? Jace asked, gripping the wall to steady himself. There is a hidden exit, Allah said quickly. I used to watch the general use it when he didn't trust the others. And why should I trust you? Jace asked. Ayla stopped and looked at him. Because I have nothing left to betray. If you die, I die too. They reached a large steel door with glowing blue lights. Ayla placed her hand on the panel. It scanned her palm, then her eyes. The lights turned green. Clicked off, the door slid open, revealing a dusty spiral staircase leading downward. No elevators. Jace muttered. No, Ayla said softly. Slaves don't get elevators. Jace glanced at her again. She moved like a shadow, smooth and silent. Her back still had faint scars. Okay. Not fresh, but deep. He didn't ask how she got them. He already knew. The staircase felt endless. Metal walls turned to rock as they moved deeper into the earth. Finally, they reached a narrow tunnel. Cold air blew through it. At the end, a faint red light blinked. That's the outside world, Ayla said. Jace narrowed his eyes. Why does it feel like a trap? It might be, Ayla replied. But it's the only way out. They stepped into the red light. A door hissed open and sunlight burst into Jace's face. Real sunlight. Harsh and burning the surface. They were free, or so they thought. The sky was red, not earth red, but alien red. 2 suns burned above. The ground was cracked and dry. Black dust flew through the wind. JSE looked around. He saw broken towers in the distance, war machines rusting, and something worse, a black drone floating above them. It scanned the area and turned toward them. Ayla's eyes widened. Run. They ran over sharp rocks and metal debris. The drone fired a red beam, narrowly missing Jace's shoulder. Keep moving. Jace yelled. Ayla led him to an old trench, and they slid down into it. The drone hovered above, but didn't fire again. It flew off, scanning other areas. JAC gasped for air. What was that thing? A hunter drone, Ayla answered. It doesn't kill right away. It follows. Marks the target. Then it calls others. Others? Jace asked. Yes, she whispered. Real killers, they stayed in the trench for an hour. Jace cleaned a wound on his hand, using the cloth from his uniform. Ayla sat quietly, her arms around her knees, like a scared child. He looked at her. How long were you a slave? Ayla didn't answer. He tried again. Do you even remember your life before? Slowly, she nodded. Yes, I was 10. I remember flowers, and music, and my mother's voice. Then the war came. The Zarnok took everything. They told me I was born to serve, that my gift made me valuable. Gift? Jace asked. Ayla looked away. It's better you don't know. You'll want to use it too. I'm not like them. She stared into his eyes. You're human. Maybe that's worse. Silence fell again. But Jace wasn't angry. He couldn't be, because he knew if Earth had lost the war, He might have been the one kneeling. He stood up. We can't stay here. What's the plan? Alla stood too. There's an old human ship. It crashed during the first wave of battle. The Zarnak never found it. I've seen it. It might still work. Jace raised an eyebrow. You're sure? I'm not sure of anything, she said, but it's better than hiding in a hole. They started walking across the wasteland. The heat was brutal and the ground sharp. Jace helped Alla climb over broken tanks and twisted wires. She moved slowly, but her eyes were always alert, like she'd lived her whole life in fear. As the sun began to fall, a strange sound filled the air, a low growl. Jace stopped. That's not a drone, Alla whispered. It's a guardian. Suddenly, a four-legged alien beast leaped from the rocks, its skin metal, its mouth full of blades. Jace pushed Alla aside and grabbed a sharp rod from the ground. The beast charged. Jace swung, the rod snapped. The beast pinned him down, and then Nayla screamed. A wave of blue energy exploded from her hands. Blasting the beast backward, Jace rolled away, coughing. The beast growled and limped away into the dust. Jace stared at it. Ah, her hands were glowing. You said you didn't want me to know your gift, he said, slowly. But I think I just saw it. Alla looked at her hands, then back at him. That was only a piece. Jace wiped the blood from his chin. Remind me never to make you mad. Hunted the air was dry. The ground burned under the twin suns. But Jace didn't feel the heat anymore. He kept glancing at the girl walking beside him. HFY Sci, the silver-skinned alien girl who once called herself a slave, had just blasted a monster. With her bare hands, he had seen power on battlefields, explosions, plasma weapons, war machines, but nothing like that. She hadn't aimed. She hadn't shouted. She had simply raised her hands and the energy answered, JSE. Didn't ask questions. Not yet, because in the sky above them, a black dot was circling. It's still following us, he muttered. HFY Sci didn't look up. Yes. It won't stop now. How long before it calls others? She paused. Not long. That was a guardian beast. The drone only sends them when it finds a target worth capturing. Target, Jay scoffed. Great. So I'm a walking prize. No, she said quietly. I am Jay. Stopped walking. Explain. Ayla looked at him with tired eyes. I was not just a slave. The Zarnak stored ancient power in me. I don't know what it is. I only know that they feared it and wanted to control it. And now that I've taken you, Jace said slowly, they think I stole their weapon. She nodded. So now we're both being hunted. They moved quickly across the rocky field. In the distance, something metallic poked out from a collapsed hill. The broken wing of a spacecraft. The old ship. Jace asked. Alla pointed. It's buried, but I remember. I used to hide there as a child. Before the war came, they reached the base of the hill and began to dig through the sand and rubble. The ship was there, an old Earth Scout vessel, marked with faded symbols of the Human Defense Corps. Jace found a panel, pried it open, and climbed inside. Dust, rust, silence. It's dead, he whispered. Ayla stepped in behind him. Not fully. Some systems may still sleep. Jace moved to the cockpit. He touched the console. Nothing, then dash, click. A dim blue light flickered. Bingo, he grinned. But outside, the wind changed, and from above, deep mechanical voice spoke. Human soldier Jace Morgan, you are holding Zarnak property. Surrender. Jace's blood turned cold. He peeked through a crack. A group of armored alien hunters stood at the base of the hill. Tall, armored, and armed with plasma rifles. They're not drones, Jace whispered. They're real. Soldiers. Ayla's voice trembled. They came faster than I thought. Jace looked around. There's no way out the back. Only one. Door, she nodded. We can't fight them. He grinned. Then let's trick them. He searched the ship and found an old EMP grenade, but maybe fixable. He ripped wires from the console and used his belt buckle to spark power into it. Ayla watched him with wide eyes. You were a warrior once, she whispered. He smiled. He handed her the grenade. Throw this outside when I say got it, she nodded slowly. Good, and Ayla. Stay low. If anything happens to Miran, she grabbed his arm. No, if you die, I'm next. Jace climbed up the hatch slowly and peeked out. The soldiers were moving closer. Final. Warning, human, one shouted. Give us the vessel, and you may leave with your life. Jace stood up fully and raised his hands. All right, I give up. The soldiers paused. I'll come out alone, he shouted. He stepped into the sunlight, hands still raised. Where is the girl? One soldier asked. Gone, Jace lied. She ran when she saw you, took off into the rocks. They didn't believe him. One raised his gun. That's when Jace shouted, now. From inside the ship, Ayla threw the grenade. Boom. Blinding flash of blue light exploded. The hunters screamed as their armor sparked. Their weapons died. Systems. Crashed. Jace tackled one, punched another, and grabbed a rifle from the ground. He fired one shot, 2, 3. The rest ran. Dust filled the sky again. Silence returned. Ayla ran out of the ship, tainting. Did it work? Jace wiped blood from his lip. They'll be back. But now we know something. What? They're afraid of you. They didn't shoot you on sight. They wanted you alive. Ayla looked down. Because I'm their key. Key. To what? Jace asked. She shook her head. I don't know. If they want me alive, then I must be dangerous. Jace looked at her, no longer seeing a slave or a prize or even a victim. He saw a girl who had survived hell and still stood tall as night fell. The ship's power core blinked again. Jace touched the screen. A soft voice said, System rebooting. Please wait. He looked at Ayla. We might have a ship, he said. She smiled for the first time. Then, we might have a future. But far above, another drone blinked, and on a far planet, a voice spoke in the dark. The vessel has awakened. Prepare the collector. You must not let the human escape. The gift to the old Earth ship shook with power. Lights flickered. Sparks flew. Jace stood at the control panel, his hands steady, his eyes sharp. He didn't know how the ship still worked, but it did. Somehow, after years of silence, it had come back to life. Behind him, Ayla sat quietly in the corner. Hugging her knees, she looked tired, pale, cold. Not from fear, but from something deeper pain. Power core is stable. Jace muttered, watching the screen. Navigation's dead, but life support's on. That's something. He turned toward her. You okay? Ayla looked up slowly. Her silver skin seemed dimmer. I used too much energy, she whispered. The blast, the beast, and the grenade pulse. My body is still human-shaped, but the power inside isn't human. It feeds on balance. It's hungry now. Jace stepped closer. Can you control it? She hesitated. Sometimes. But not when I'm scared. Not when I care. Jace raised an eyebrow. You care? A faint smile. Yes. About you. Silence between them grew heavy. Jace sat beside her. He didn't know what to say. For a soldier, silence was normal. But with her, the silence had meaning. Finally, he asked, What are you, Ayla? Not just a slave. Not just a girl. What's really inside you? She looked at her hands. They were shaking. My people were once healers. We were called the Sulari. We had the gift of light. It could heal wounds, protect minds, even bring back breath, but the Zarnak didn't want healers. They wanted weapons. So they changed you. She nodded. They experimented on us, enhanced the gift, turned it into something darker. Now, I don't just heal. I also destroy. Jace looked away, jaw tight. And they gave you to their general like a trophy. I was his final vessel, she said. The strongest, the last. And when you killed him, the bond passed to you. I don't want that bond, but it's there. Jace stood and walked back to the panel. He hated this, hated being part of something twisted, but he couldn't walk away and not from her. Suddenly, the screen flashed red. Incoming transmission. Jace pressed the button. A grainy voice spoke. Human ship detected. Coordinates locked. Retrieval team dispatched. Jace turned pale. They're coming. Ayla struggled to stand. Then we need to leave now. But the engines won't start, Jace said. I've got partial power, but the ship's stuck here. She placed her hand on the console. The lights flickered, then pulsed. A second. Later, the screen turned green. Main engines online. Jace stared. What did you do? I connected, Ayla said weakly. The ship responds to ancient energy. I gave it a little push. She stumbled, her knees buckling. Jace caught her just in time. Her skin was ice cold. You're burning yourself out, he said. Why? Because you protected me. When you didn't have to. Jace carried her to the medbed. The ship began to hum around, them charging, preparing for flight. You said you used to heal, he said. Can you heal yourself? She shook her head. Not from this. I wasn't designed to survive long. I was built for power, not peace. Well, that's gonna change, Jace muttered. Because we're not dying here. He strapped into the pilot's seat. The control stick trembled under his grip. Warning lights flashed. Autopilot malfunction. Manual lift required. Of course, he forced the controls forward. The engines roared. Dust blew out from under the ship. The ground cracked. The old metal beast began to rise. Jace grinned. You hear that, Allah? We're flying. But outside, a shadow moved. From the hills. A black shape with wings appeared. An enemy dropship, sleek, deadly. Armed, it fired. The shockwave hit the side of the ship. Jace fought the controls as fire ripped across the hull. We can't outrun them. He shouted, "EY La," barely conscious, whispered, "Let me try one last time." She floated off the medbed eyes, glowing white, hair rising like fire in the wind. Jace watched in shock. Allah. She walked to the window. The enemy ship charged again. She placed her hand on the wall. Light exploded. A blinding wave of energy burst from their ship. Silent, pure, unstoppable. The enemy dropship shattered. Mid-air, no smoke, no sound. Just vanished into dust. Then Allah collapsed. Jace ran to her. Allah, stay with me. She opened her eyes slowly. The gift. It's yours now. No, Jace said. You're not dying. Not for me. She touched his chest. You were chosen. Not because you killed, but because you saw me as more than a weapon. Her fingers glowed faintly, and then the light vanished. She went still. Silence. Jace held her close. The hum of the ship faded. Then, a pulse. From her chest, a single glow. She wasn't dead, just resting. The bounty. Jace watched the stars drift by. The ship had escaped the surface. The engines still buzzed. The metal hull creaked every few minutes, like a tired old warrior breathing through pain. But they were alive. He glanced back at the medbed. Allah lay still, her chest rising slowly, her silver skin pale, her glowing eyes closed. She had saved him. Again, and this time, she'd almost paid with her life. Jace turned back to the control panel. Something blinked. Fast. Urgent. Wide. Broadcast incoming. Galactic Sector Bounty Alert. He pressed the screen. A cold robotic voice echoed through the ship. Reward offered 900,000 credits for the return of the vessel known as Isla. Alive, unharmed. Human involved. Kill on sight. Jace's heart froze. They had just put a bounty on her and him. A death sentence. They're not hiding anymore. He whispered. He stood and looked at her again. She still hadn't moved. Why do they want you so badly? He asked aloud. What are they planning? But there was no answer. Only the steady beep of the ship and the quiet rise and fall of her. Breathing suddenly, the ship jolted. Whoa, what now? He ran to the console. Tracking lock detected. Incoming ship. A message appeared. This is Captain Relock of the warship Iron Fang. Turn over the girl. No need to die today. Jace gritted his teeth. I'm getting real tired of people asking. For her, he flicked off the broadcast and activated the manual systems. The ship wasn't fast. It wasn't armed. But it had one thing going for. It was small. Jace fired the boosters. The stars stretched like lines behind him. The Iron Fang gave chase. For 10 minutes. It was a deadly game of cat and mouse. Laser blasts flew past the wings. Jace dived low into a ring of space debris, broken satellites, wrecked fighters, spinning scrap. This is stupid, he muttered. This is suicide. But he kept flying. Because Ayla was still alive. And she trusted him to protect her. The enemy ship fired a gang closer this time. The force shook the ship, panels sparked. One screen went dark. The engines began to overheat. He glanced back. Allah was still unconscious. Then he had an idea. A crazy one. But maybe, just maybe, he flew directly into the center of the debris cloud. Then he powered everything down. Silence, no engine noise, no energy signal. The ship drifted, hidden among metal trash. Seconds passed. A minute, he heard the enemy ship scanning. Then turning away. Jace held his breath. Come on, keep moving, keep. Then gone, they had left. He restarted the systems and took a deep breath. We made it. He sat beside Allah again. They're hunting you like treasure. Why? What's in your blood? Suddenly, her hand moved. Jace, he leaned forward. I'm here. Her eyes opened slowly. They found us. Yeah, he said. Put a bounty on your head. A big one. She nodded weakly. Then I must tell you the truth. Jace waited as she sat up, her body shaking. I was made for one purpose, she said. Not just to carry power, but to unlock something. Unlock. What? He asked. Ayla looked at him, fear in her voice. The Vault of Suns. Jace blinked. That sounds important. It's an ancient Sulari structure, she explained. Hidden, sealed. It holds the last knowledge of my people tech, healing, and something worse. What worse? She whispered. A weapon that can erase stars. Jace stood, and the Zarnok want to use it. She nodded. They need a key. My body, my blood, is that key. Jace paced across the room. This is insane. You're telling me you're a walking nuclear code, and they just let you live with a warlord? They needed time. She said to weaken the seals, to prepare, and now I'm awake. And I chose you. Jace looked at her. Why me? Because you didn't ask for power, she said. You didn't look at me with greed. You gave me a name. Before he could answer, the ship's screen lit up. A call, a voice from Earth. Corporal Jace Morgan. If you are alive, this is command. We received your emergency ping. Confirm your identity and location. We can extract you. Jace stared at the screen. Home. A way out. But at what cost? He looked at HFY. If he told them where they were, they'd come fast. But what would they do to her? He turned on the mic. This is Jace. I'm alive, but I'm not coming home. Static. Then, repeat that. I've got something they'll want, Jace said. Something bigger than a win. Bigger than the war. I'm keeping her safe. Jace, don't be stupid. You don't know what you're carrying. I do now, he said. And that's why I'm not handing her over. He ended the call. Allah looked at him in shock. You gave up Earth. For me, Jace nodded. No one owns you anymore. Not them. Not Earth. Not me. The ship flew into the unknown. Stars ahead, danger behind. And deep in the galaxy, every hunter began to move. Not for gold. Not for land, but for the girl who could unlock a star-killing weapon. And the human who refused to sell her soul. Sacrifice the stars outside the window looked peaceful, but inside the ship, everything was falling apart. Warning lights blinked. Systems blinked out one by one. The engine was failing. Oxygen levels were dropping, and Ayla was dying. Jace sat beside her medbed, hands shaking, heart pounding. She had used too much power. Too many times her body was breaking down. Her glow had faded. Her breathing was shallow. He felt helpless. A soldier who had survived war beasts and bounty hunters. Now powerless against the slow, quiet death of someone he couldn't lose. Come on, Ayla, he whispered, brushing hair from her forehead. You're not allowed to give up. Not yet. She stirred, just barely. Her lips moved. Jace. I'm here, he said, holding her hand. She opened her eyes slowly. I can feel it. My body. It's not healing anymore. You don't need to heal, he said. You just need to rest. You'll recover. But she shook her head. No, my time is ending. This form, it wasn't made to last. The energy inside me burns like fire. The more I use it, the faster I vanish. No, he said firmly. You're not vanishing. Not on my watch. The screen behind him buzzed. Proximity alert. Incoming ship. Jace stood and checked the radar. One ship, small, old, signal code. Human. Jace. It's Lieutenant Kara West. From Earth, we followed your trail. We're here to bring you home. You're not alone anymore. His heart sank. Help too late. He pressed the mic. We need a med evac. Now, copy that. Docking in 2 minutes. We'll bring her in. He looked back at Ayla. She stared at him, tired but peaceful. Don't let them take me. They'll help you. No, she whispered. They'll study me. Lock me away. You know it. Jace clenched his jaw. Then what's the other option? Letting you die. She closed her eyes. I can give you something else. A gift. My last one. What gift? She pointed to the ship's console. My energy can merge with the system. Okay. I can restart the core, restore full flight power, and keep the ship alive. You'll be able to run, hide, or fight. Jace stepped back. No, that'll kill you. She smiled faintly. I was never meant to live, Jace. But I want you to. Suddenly, the docking clamp clicked. The rescue ship had arrived. Jace looked at the airlock door, then back at HFY. The choice hit him like a punch to the chest. If he let her do this, she'd be gone forever. But if he handed her over to Earth, they'd tear her apart. She was too powerful to be left free. Too dangerous to be understood. She was his friend. Maybe more. And she had never asked for any of this. He walked to her and knelt beside the bed. "You really want to do this?" asked. She nodded slowly. "I want to give you a future." His voice cracked. "Then give me one with you in it." Allah touched his cheek. "You gave me my name. You gave me my first sunrise, my first laugh. That's more than anyone ever gave me." Jace closed his eyes. "Okay," he whispered. "Okay, but I'll remember." She smiled and stood, her body barely holding. Together, she walked to the console, placed her hand on the panel, and closed her eyes. Her body began to glow, again brighter than ever before. Not white, not blue, but gold light filled the ship. Wires, HUMMED. Engines flared. The walls pulsed like a living heart. And then silence. Jace ran to the console. Every system dash restored power. Full weapons, online, shield, activated, escape, dash possible. But the medbed was empty. He dropped to his knees. Allah. There was nothing left. No body, no light. Just the soft hum of the ship. She gave her life to save. The airlock hissed open. Kara stepped in, blaster in hand. Eyes scanning. She froze. Saw Jace on the floor and the golden light dancing across the walls. "What happened here?" she asked. Jayak stood slowly. "She saved the ship. Where is she?" He looked her dead in the eyes. "She's gone." Kara lowered her weapon. "I'm sorry." Jace didn't answer. He walked past her and sat in the pilot seat. The controls responded instantly. The ship was alive and in its systems. He could feel her, her presence, her voice. He powered the ship forward. "I'm not going." "Back to Earth," he said. Kara turned to him. "Then where will you go?" Jace stared into the stars. "To finish what she started." Somewhere in the galaxy, the Vault of Suns still waited. Locked, dangerous, and Ayla had given him the key. The new beginning, the ship drifted through space like a ghost. Silent, golden light shimmered across its walls, warm, calm, alive, and in the pilot's seat sat Jace Morgan, the last human soldier of the Zarnok War. But this wasn't the same. Jace from the battlefield, he had seen too much, lost too much, and he was carrying something greater than any. Weapon-her, he tapped the screen. Navigation online, charting new course. The destination wasn't Earth. It wasn't even mapped. It was whispered in Zarnak codes, buried in the memories of a girl who called herself a slave. The place where her people had hidden their final hope. The Vault of Suns. Jaka didn't know what he'd find there. Power. Peace. Danger. He only knew one thing: La had wanted him to reach it. And after everything she gave him, her strength, her light, her life, he wouldn't stop now. Suddenly, the ship spoke. Not in metal tones, not in robotic voice, but in her voice, soft, familiar, warm. "Jace, are you still with me?" He sat up straight. "Ayla caught me exactly," the voice continued. "But a part of me lives in the ship now, in the systems. The light I gave you, it didn't die. It changed." Jace felt something in his chest, like a breath he didn't know. He was holding. He wasn't alone. Not truly. The ship arrived near a golden nebula, beautiful swirl of stars and dust, glowing like fire, caught in glass, and in the center, floating quietly, was a structure the size of a small moon. Ancient, alien, the Vault of Suns. It didn't move, didn't shine, but Jace could feel it, watching him, waiting. He brought the ship close. Panels lit up. A message appeared. Key detected. Opening. Gate. The vault unfolded like a blooming flower. Inside. There were no guards, no guns, just silence and light. Every wall was covered in strange writing, glowing with soft pulses like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. Jace stepped off the ship and into The vault, the air, felt heavy, yet full of life. Then he saw it, a platform with a single glowing sphere hovering above it. He touched it, and everything changed. Suddenly, memories filled his mind. Not hers, HFY La, as a child, laughing under silver. Trees, her people dancing under twin moons, then war. Flames, chains, screams, then him, Jace, giving her a name, giving her a reason to hope. He fell to his knees. I don't deserve this. He whispered, but the vault whispered back. You saw her, not her power, not her danger, just her. The sphere rose into the air. You are the last carrier of the Sulari gift. Do not use it to rule, use it to protect. Jace stood. The light from the sphere flowed into him. His veins glowed gold. His eyes lit up with stars. He felt strong, but not as a weapon. Strong, with purpose. He returned to the ship. The moment he sat down, her voice returned. You found it. He smiled. We found it. What will you do now? He looked out at the stars. There are still Zarnok warlords out there. Still slavers, still darkness. Then we bring light. Jace grinned. You always wanted a better world. Yes, she said. But I never thought I'd see it. He tapped the console. You will? Through me. Time passed. Stories spread across the galaxy of a golden ship that appeared where hope was dying, of a human soldier who glowed with starfire and defied empires, of a voice inside the ship that spoke with kindness and power. They called it a myth, a legend. But to those saved, it was real. One day, a small alien girl looked up at the golden ship landing in her village. She asked, "Who is that?" And the elder smiled. That's the one the stars sent. And far above, the human who once fought only to survive. Now, flew to protect, to heal, to finish what she started, because the gift wasn't the light. Inside him, it was the reason to use it.